Picture this. It's a gray October morning in 1961. London fog in the air. Trains grinding to a halt at Dartford Station. Two teenagers, barely men, stand on opposite ends of the platform. One's holding a stack of blues records under his arm. Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Elmore James. His name? Mick Jagger. Sharp-eyed, focused, already carrying the posture of someone meant for a stage. Across the platform, Keith Richards, leather jacket, unruly hair, cradling Chuck Berry vinyls like sacred relics. They recognize each other. They went to school together once. But something's different now. This isn't just a catch-up. It's the spark of something massive. Because in those stacks of records they were holding was the soul of rebellion, of freedom, of every storm that was about to crash into British rock and echo across the globe. They started playing together, practicing in small flats, sweaty basements, run-down rehearsal halls, obsessing over riffs, scribbling lyrics, chasing that raw American blues sound with English grit and teenage nerve. Mick wanted to translate it to the world. He saw the vision, lights, stages, headlines. Keith? He wanted to feel it in his bones. Just the sound, the purity, the danger. They weren't the same. But together, they were unstoppable. The Rolling Stones were born. By the 1970s, they were gods. Not pop stars, gods. Selling out arenas on every continent, stirring up riots, living at the edge of chaos with every breath. But behind the scenes, a slow fracture was spreading. Keith was spiraling, drowning in heroin, barely making it to rehearsals, losing days at a time in a blur of smoke and needles. Mick was evolving into something else. The manager, the strategist, the businessman, still the front man, but now also the anchor trying to keep the ship from capsizing. And that's when the tension turned volcanic. And in between those two truths was the soul of the band tearing. By 1983, they couldn't even stand being in the same room, literally. Producer Chris Kimsey had to build a schedule around their feud. Mick would record his vocals during the day. Keith would lay down his guitar tracks at night. They became ghosts to each other, collaborating without ever crossing paths. The Rolling Stones had become a band of shadows. Then Mick went solo. She's the Boss dropped in '85. Glossy, polished, radio ready. To fans, it was bold. To Keith, it was betrayal. He didn't see it as a side project. He saw it as abandonment. He mocked Mick in interviews, called him Her Majesty. Not just out of jealousy, but because he felt like Mick was chasing royalty while Keith was still chasing the blues. And just like that, the band was barely hanging on. In 2010, Keith released Life, a memoir that hit like a thunderclap, raw, brutal, honest. Page after page, Keith dragged the skeletons out, Mick's solo ambitions, his ego, his control freak tendencies. It wasn't just gossip. It was an autopsy of a brotherhood. But beneath the sarcasm and the jabs was something else. Love. Hurt. That deep ache you only feel for someone who used to be your entire world. Keith wasn't just angry. He was heartbroken. Because when you've shared stages, songs, and decades of madness with someone, it cuts deep when it all starts slipping away. Mick didn't say much publicly, but behind the scenes, he was stunned. It hurt. But he read between the lines. Keith didn't want war. He wanted closure. Their reunion didn't come with fireworks. No tearful TV interviews. No tour documentaries. Just two men in a studio. No longer boys. No longer trying to win the fight. Just trying to find the music again. And somehow, they did. Song by song, riff by riff, they rebuilt what fame, addiction, and time had tried to burn down. They never forgot the past, but they stopped letting it own them. And in 2023, Hackney Diamonds dropped. It wasn't just another album, it was a message. A signal that even after 60 years of battles, bitterness, and brutal honesty, the bond still held. It's survival, it's forgiveness. It's a love story written in smoke, sweat, and stadium lights. Jagger and Richards didn't just change music. They showed us what it means to build something that endures, even when everything else tries to tear it down. That That's a kind hear the music. Feel it. Because that isn't just a concert. It's survival. It's forgiveness. It's a love story written in smoke, sweat, and stadium lights. Jagger and Richards didn't just change music. They showed us what it means to build something that endures, even when everything else tries to tear it down. That's a kind of magic. You don't learn. You earn it.